May the words of my mouth and the meditation of all our hearts be found acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and Redeemer. I don't know what you make of this passage. And how does it apply to you and me and those around us, our friends, our neighbors, on this day? But here's what I see. It's my experience that people give up too soon. We find ourselves in situations where we cannot imagine things getting better than they are. It's too late. People who've waited too late, or people who've gone too far. Situations that have been the way they are for just too long. Here's Jairus, the leader of the synagogue, hoping for his little daughter to get well. And folks come to him and say, give it up. It's too late. There's no sense asking Jesus for healing because she has already died. And when Jesus goes to the home and says that it's not too late, what do? They laugh at him. Everybody laughs at him. Because everybody knows it's too late. Here's this woman. She's had a hemorrhage. I assume that's not continually, or she would have died. But this hemorrhage that doesn't go away, it just keeps appearing again and again. She's bleeding. And this has kept her from social contact because in those days, if you had something bleeding or weeping, you didn't just put a bandage on it and go out. You were not allowed to be in the synagogue. You were not allowed to be in the temple. You were not allowed to be in social settings. You had to be completely alone, without your friends, without your family, without anyone, until a certain period of time after it was healed. For 12 years, she had been cut off. She'd gone to every doctor she knew, and no one was able to help. It just kept getting worse. And eventually, she had spent everything she had on medical care. Nothing was left. There was no more money. There were no more doctors. There was no more hope. 12 years, and it just kept getting worse. And if she'd had any sense, she would have listened to all of her friends and family and everybody else. Give it up. But she had no more sense than Jesus. Jesus didn't believe that it was too late. And he healed the little dead girl anyway. And she didn't believe that it was too late. And in spite of the fact that she was not supposed to be around in public, she was not supposed to touch other people, she elbowed her way through the crowd and came up and grabbed his robe. Now, I got to tell you, her idea that if she just touched his clothes, she'd get better. I mean, really, that's goofy. That's really goofy. I don't know where she got that idea. It was dumb. It was crazy. It couldn't possibly work. It was completely ridiculous. And she did it anyway. And it wasn't the touching of Jesus's clothes that made her well. It was her trust that God could do it anyway. Her belief that with Jesus, it's not too late. So Melissa read this interesting passage from 2 Corinthians, and right in the middle of it, it said this: In this matter, I am giving my advice. It is appropriate for you who began last year not only to do something, but even to desire to do something, to now finish doing it, so that your eagerness may be matched by completing it according to your means. Now, he's not talking about healing here. He's talking about giving financial support to those who needed it. But I believe that the idea is the same. Have you had, at some point in your life, an idea of following Jesus? An idea of serving God? An idea of becoming more than you've ever been? An idea of reaching maturity, wholeness, and fullness? Have you had some idea in the past? And maybe something has happened. Maybe you've tried and failed. Maybe you've tried for 12 stinking years and things have only gotten worse. Maybe you've tried and all hope has been lost because the idea has died. But I'm going to give you a piece of advice from St. Paul. Complete it. Finish it. If old age has gotten in the way, move it aside and move on. If failure has gotten in the way, move it aside and move on. If the pandemic has gotten in the way, move it aside and move on. If someone that you have been counting on has let you down, or has moved away, or has died, don't let it stand in your way. Move the obstacle aside and move on. When they come and tell you, Jairus, it's too late, your daughter has died, follow Jesus anyway. When the doctors have said, we've tried everything we can, there is no cure, follow Jesus anyway. When it's too late, when there is no hope, follow Jesus anyway. Who knows? The daughter may be raised from the dead. The illness may be healed. The hopelessness may be turned into hope. Follow Jesus anyway. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.